Okay guys, welcome to another, I wouldn't call it a video, I would call it audio because there is no video. Well, I might put up some gameplay or something, or a picture sheet or something or another. I'm in the car, as you can probably tell, so apologies about the poor sort of sound quality, but hopefully you can hear me clear enough anyway. Yeah, I just thought I would talk a wee bit about Bob Wakeling. You're probably aware that Bob passed away sadly on, I think it was, what day was it? Was it Sunday? Monday? I can't remember exactly what day it was. Now I like most people who grew up in the early days of this industry, the very early games, a lot of the artwork was a one-man band. The guy did the graphics, the guy did the programming, and he also drew the sort of tape cover artwork. And ordinarily the quality wasn't the best. You'd be lucky if it was even colour. There were one or two companies. I mean, there was a lot of companies back then, back in the early 80s, 82, 83. Some of them had sort of passable artwork. Probably their mate who went to art college, something like that, or maybe the guy was quite handy with a pen and paintbrush, something like that. But then Ocean came along. Now you all know about Ocean. They were probably the second company to really turn it into a proper business. I mean, the company before them was Imagine. Now we know what happened to Imagine. They put out a lot of very mediocre titles, but their big selling point was A, they told everybody how good they were, and B, they had these really imaginative adverts, eye-catching adverts. And so you saw that and you thought, oh, buy it. So anyway, yeah, Imagine they made a lot of money in a very short space of time. Sadly, rather stupidly, they were spending it quicker than it was coming in. And ultimately the company went bust. But the company that saw what was going on was Ocean, and yeah, I think Ocean started up, was it 83? I don't think they had anything in 1982, I'm sure they had games in 1983. I might be wrong with that one. But Ocean, I think, realised then that a good cover for a game was worth its weight in gold. So they employed Bob. And we can all remember going into your local software emporium. In my case, it was a little computer shop near to me, owned by an Italian guy. And then probably maybe 6 months later. It's funny when I talk about these times. I talk about it in years, but a lot of the time it was maybe only 6 months. But when you're 18 years old or 17 years old, time seems to go a lot slower than it does now. But then when John Menzies in my local shopping centre, they started to stock software, then I think Boots also had it, but John Menzies was the big one where I was. They started to stock all these tapes, and you went into the shop and on a wall was just all these different tapes. You might get one or two TVs showing some of the latest titles. The ones that always seem to get shown in Matt and John Menzies, the early days, you had Bugaboo the Flea. Can't think why. I mean, it was quite eye-catching, but it wasn't. If you look at the scrolling in the game, it's not the best. Bugaboo the Flea was a common one, a popular one. You had Ghostbusters on the C64. School Days was another one that seemed to be in shop windows a lot. Later was it Gyron? I think it was on the Spectrum. Mr. Mephisto was another Commodore 64 one that seemed to get displayed. But anyway, I'm digressing a wee bit. yeah, on the wall, on the shelves, you had all these games. And apart from magazines like Zap and Crash, computer video games, it was very much guessing as to what looked good. Now, you know, initially the cover would be the thing that would catch your eye. You'd pick up the tape box, you would look at the back of it. If you were lucky, it might have an in-game screenshot, though a lot of them, especially a bit later on, they would have a picture of the arcade game, and it would say other versions may vary, or home versions may vary. In other words, the home versions look nothing like the arcade. But yeah, the big thing for Ocean was they had the talents of Bob Wakelin. Now, as you know, his artwork was just absolutely phenomenal. It really was. I mean, when I was back then, I never really gave it any thought as to who drew the artwork or anything. I just always remember being super impressed. I mean, Bob did some really early games. He worked on I think Hunchback on the C64 Spectrum. He also did Mr. Wimpy, which was one of the earliest games for Ocean. Now, I put out a little video called Remembering Bob Wakelin, and one of the pictures that I found was a sort of a concept. It was an early Mr. Wimpy cover, but apparently David Ward of Ocean saw it and he thought it was too scary looking. Now, if you go and have a look at my video and you'll see what I mean, it is pretty terrifying. There's a chef, in front of a large burger getting chased with this enormous sausage or hot dog with teeth. It is quite simply the stuff of nightmares. So yeah, that was Bob did Mr. Wimpy. He did stuff like Cavalon, what's it called? Chinese Juggler, was it called? I think it was. But yeah, he did really all the Ocean stuff. But to my mind, where it started to get really eye-catching was when Ocean bought over the now defunct Imagine label, and Bob obviously was commissioned to do the covers for the Imagine games. Now, the covers that he did for stuff like Year Kung Fu, Hyper Sports, Green Beret, just incredible. You know, it was, the cover sold the game to me. It really did. Fortunately, the game quality backed up the quality of the artwork, so I wasn't disappointed. But yeah, he had his own style. You look at stuff like Year Kung Fu, you look at Comic Bakery. Comic Bakery is an absolutely wonderful cover. The character, the colours, he brings the game to life. Then you had stuff like Mikey, Operation Wolf, all these games. I mean, you know, I could talk for and hours I should say, about the stuff that Bob did. But yeah, he really, you know, Ocean have got a lot. I've got to thank Bob an awful lot, because his artwork was just, to my mind, it was the best. Yeah, we've got Ollie Frey, who had his own style, but he was more associated with magazines. I don't know if Ollie Frey ever did artwork for games. Not too sure. But yeah, Bob was he was a different level, and I feel sorry for the companies that didn't have a Bob Wakelin on their payroll, because, you know, Ocean had it. I mean, Ocean, they hit the jackpot with using Bob. His stuff is just phenomenal, and that's why even just now Bob's stuff still sells. Now I'm kicking myself because I had the chance. I've only met Bob the once, and I thought it was last year, I think it was the year before, I was down at Play Blackpool, and I saw him. Like I said, I didn't really know him, I'd never known him to talk to at all, but he was just standing there. He was behind the stall. Bob had a sort of a deal going with the Attic Bug, who basically sold Bob's artwork on his behalf. And Bob was there, and I approached him, and I just said, oh, you know, well, your stuff's incredible. He's like, oh, thanks very much. And I had a chat with him, and I said, so how did this whole thing come about? I says, well, you're a big gamer. And he told me that he wasn't into computer games. He was not into computer games at all. He never ever played them. So I said to him, so how did you come up with the idea for a game? And basically, he would be told, right, we've got this game, it's a platform game, it's got ghosts in it, there's vampires, zombies, whatever. They would basically explain to him what they were looking for, and Bob would just go off and come up with his own cover. And he said that he actually got to see very, very little games because he wasn't interested in video games. Obviously, people remember him for that. So yeah, that was quite interesting that the guy who made the most iconic video game covers was not a gamer. He didn't have any interest in the hobby. But saying that, he was I think Bob, he was fully aware of his impact in this hobby and the interest even now in his artwork. And so for that reason, Bob would go along to all these events, and he would, you know, you could just go up and talk to him. He was that kind of guy, a genuine, nice guy who was willing to talk to, let's be honest, fans. Well, we're all fans of his. He'd be quite happy to have a chat. You know, if you bought one of his artwork posters, he would gladly sign it for you. I'm disappointed I never actually bought one when I was down there. I was going to, and then I never actually got round to it. So yeah, more the fool me. But yeah, and he went along to these conventions, he would do talks, interviews, because he realised just that there was still a massive interest in what he did. And so when I heard of him passing away, you know, like most other people, I was very, very sad. But you know what, I think rather than be sad, I think we have to celebrate and think ourselves fortunate that Bob has left an absolutely amazing legacy of art. You know, go on to eBay and just type in Bob Wakeling artwork, or type in the Attic Bug, and you'll see the seller. They were very, very good friends with Bob. So, you know, you could do yourself worse than go in there and pick up some of Bob's artwork. But so anyway, yeah, listen, that's I've kind of rambled on long enough. Hopefully you can hear this. But yeah, that's it, guys. I just wanted to pass a bit of time when I was in the car and just talk a wee bit about Bob. So yeah, okay guys, as usual, thank you very, very much for watching.